there are so many of you out there who settle for so much less than you truly deserve. You settle for a number of reasons. Perhaps you were afraid that you won't make it if you step out. Perhaps you were afraid of being different from your friends, your family, and what the repercussions of that will be. Perhaps it's deeper than that. Perhaps you suffer from a lack of confidence and a lack of self-belief. You truly believe that you won't make it if you put yourself out there. So why even try, right? I want to take you on a journey, down a path if you like, that I've seen only too well in two people who meant the absolute world to me, my parents. Their story is tragic, but not in the way that you would think. Sure, they grew up in difficult circumstances. There was abuse, and there were plenty of times when money was ridiculously tight. And so they downloaded all kinds of beliefs and thoughts into their unconscious minds. What this story is about, though, is how they lived their lives much less to their potential and even to their dreams. My father was a dreamer. In his early years, he travelled from the UK to Australia. He met my mum through a pen friend club, and they fell in love through the stroke of a pen. The two young lovers ran away from my mother's family when she was just 18 and moved to New Zealand. After having us three girls, my parents moved back to Queensland, where they settled down to start their lives. My father had done some travelling around Australia before he left with my mother, and he had other dreams of travelling the outback of Australia. More than that, he had a big, grand dream. He was an incessant train spotter, and there was one train ride he'd always wanted to take. It was the train between Las Vegas, Nevada and Denver, Colorado. I recall as a young girl listening to the stories of how thrilling this would be for him to do, to travel on this train that looped back over itself and carved its way through the Rocky Mountains. When he talked about it, he spoke with such passion, such desire, such excitement. His eyes would light up and you could see he was salivating at just the thought of it. Trouble was, he didn't believe he could, so he never did. My father died suddenly at 54 without fulfilling his dream of riding the rails on a train trip that was his life dream. See, there was always a reason or an excuse as to why he couldn't go. Firstly, there was the children. Then it was too expensive. Then it wasn't the right time. Then. The truth was he'd settled, and he believed he'd never do it. It was only a short while ago that I lost my mother. She lived to the age of 72, and she outlived her husband by 22 years. For the past 22 years, she's lived in the same house, and she's done the same thing day in and day out. And I truly believed, for the most part, her later life was happy. Then, in her dying days, she shared with me her big, grand dream. The one she'd never taken. The trip she'd wanted to do all her life, and because of her own limiting beliefs and fears had simply not made it happen. As she lay there, she looked at me and said, "All I ever wanted to do was see the Grand Canyon. Out of everything that you can do in this life, it's all I really wanted to do." I was surprised because it was the first time I'd even heard this from her. In the 46 years I'd been with her, she'd never shown any desire to go overseas, and other than her time in New Zealand, she never did. The ironic thing is that my parents could have both achieved their big, grand dream in one trip. The fact is, they waited too long. There was always a reason or an excuse as to why they couldn't go. And those reasons and excuses is what kept them stuck in all areas of their lives, not just their dreams. Because they didn't believe in themselves and believe that they could do whatever they wanted, they settled and lived a life that was much less than what they truly wanted. So if you have a big grand dream, Do whatever it takes to make it a reality. We are only on this planet for such a short time, and you never know when your last day is here. If you have fears around believing you can or believing in yourself, then go and get the help you need to fix this. There is no shame in asking for help to improve yourself. Where there's shame is when you lead a life less than what you truly wanted because you were too afraid to reach out and get the help you needed to help you make your big, grand dreams a reality.